You know, sometimes the whole thing just gets to me. What is the fucking point?
Now we're getting to the content.
Fuck's sake. That was with feeling.
Double masculine.
Double masculine. Well, you probably guessed at this point that this is a different kind of episode already.
A little bit drearier.
Yeah, you know, it's human. You've got to face facts. Part of human. Can't be positive all the time. It's not realistic.
Well, let's get into the depths of the... Tell us what's on your heart, brother. Purpose? Lack of?
I will speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure it's true for everyone. You make so much effort all the time to, quote unquote, grow. And this might come back to the whole destiny question, but if it's, I'm looking at tapestries here, so many fractals going on. Where does it lead? No one knows. Does anyone care? I don't know.
I like your rhymes. You're in the flow.
Yo, you know, it's part of it. You just got to keep going.
Maybe
there's
help
no
unravel
knowing.
your knowing.
No one knows, and I suppose we just got to keep growing.
I suppose.
But seriously.
Well, maybe you should explore that more furiously.
I explore things furiously every day.
So, what do you have to say?
I don't know. It's exasperating.
Well, I seem to return to elucidating.
You do. It's because it has many syllables and rhymes with the prior word.
Yes, that is I, the vocabulary nerd. I seem to have pulled you from the depths.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, what is this wisdom you shall reflect?
I don't know, but I feel quite dejected.
Dejected, oh so?
Yes, I know so. Dharma. Shit. Dharma over karma. You want to get technical?
Maybe this brings us back to the destiny and other...
It is your destiny. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's like, you just keep trying and trying and trying and trying.
Chop wood, carry water.
Chop wood.
You have absolute power.
I don't know anymore.
Are you feeling the effects of karma on your life and dharma?
I spent the first 35 years of my life trying really hard to expand and explore and unfurl whatever it is, whatever was to be unfurled. The DJ Shadow song from long ago, I think it's on the Introducing album. Fucking good album. You have not betrayed your ideals have betrayed you. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like that, basically. And I think it seems to be a rite of passage through life where man meets a period of time where what I just said occurs. You uphold yourself to whatever ideals from whatever origins, and at some point they get challenged to the point of death, oblivion, and then you're left with not very much at all. You're in like the dark space, the void. What do they call it? Like the Dark Knight or something? Not the movie.
The Dark Knight of the Soul.
Of the Soul, that's the one. That's the one. I've heard that, before.
As a quick interjection, I'm actually reading a book that talks about the cosmic cycles of our solar system's trajectory through Earth, just as we rotate around the sun, that our solar system rotates around another stellar entity in the Pleiades constellation, and that for 26,000 years this cycle continues, and for about 24,000 years we are in what's called the galactic night. For 2,000 years we are in the photon band, which would be the metaphor of being in the light. So for the majority of our journey in our solar system, we're in that dark night of the soul.
2 out of 26,000 years is in the light, and 24 is in the dark?
In our current solar system, yes.
Doesn't seem like a fair distribution of outcomes.
If we were to explore the visualization that the book presents, the reason may be rooted, well, if we could call it a reason, but
sure,
the expression of that reality, if as such is true, it's based on a spiral emanating from the Pleiades, that the higher up you get, the closer you are to that central spiral point, you're in the light for perpetuity. The further you get from the spiral, you're in it less and less.
Sounds like a trip.
So it gets into that in the dialogue, that if we believe our souls, however we want to describe these consciousnesses, which we try to our best to understand, are basically living out karmas or dharmas in these forms, and Earth is essentially the playground for the world of form and action. And so we are here to play out these things which we could not play in other forms or consciousnesses, or if there are such realities on other star systems or solar systems. This is the described narrative that our solar system and Earth offers, is exactly this.
That is an interesting thread. Certainly come across Pleiades and Pleiadian before. Do you happen to know the origin of the word?
Pleiadian? Do not. Do you?
No. No, I don't know the etymology.
It has a Greek feeling to it.
It does. Google. Beep. What is the etymology of Pleiades?
Etymology, Pleiades, is unknown source at this time. Please contact your local interstellar library to find the correct answer. Thank you, Siri.
Siri? Is Google Siri's Apple?
Seriously?
Seriously.
I'm glad we got on that tangent, because it is said that our star, which we call the sun, is a twin star to the Sirius star.
Why so serious?
And have you ever heard the mythologies and origin stories of the Dogon tribe in Africa?
No, but do go on.
Dogon.
I'm trying. I've heard of the Dogon, but I don't know anything about them. So
apparently they had astrological awarenesses that were part of their origin stories that go back thousands of years, that correlate with modern revelations, but we were only able to discern these facts about Sirius and its orbits and its star system that it's part of through our modern technologies. And so there's quite this disparity in how did they come to these insights. And so they actually have origin stories about that's where their ancestors came from.
Okay.
It's in their records, and they've written it on it's an oral tradition.
Oh, okay. So like a lot of
a narrative that's been passed down.
A lot of original cultures, tribal, native cultures, oral traditions. Then the English come along and make them write everything down.
They say that there's something about the oral tradition that is more powerful for truth than written, because written seems to have the ability to be spun in different ways.
Yes. Yes, easily observed, I think. Yeah. I think we're having this conversation before, and I know I've talked to other people about it. Like, English language sort of specializes in the negative. So I'd imagine with an oral tradition, then everyone has to end up. You sort of end up having the culture around the talking, because then everyone's agreeing with the community speak. I think that makes a lot of sense. But then, of course, you have to agree with the consensus. Otherwise, you're in trouble when you get ostracized from the community. If you speak too differently.
Heretical.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
At least that's our Western perception. Perhaps in these other oral traditions, it's a possibility they could encourage questioning.
Possibly.
Since we can't speak from our experience of that perception.
Yeah.
We can do our best to, like you say, project our understanding overlay our narrative on top of theirs.
Yes.
What seems to be the Christopher Columbus story and the founding of America is to just erase someone else's stories with our own renditions, as well as pagan and Christian.
Well, yeah, we talked about this before as well, where, the Piscean age, paternal, hierarchical system of religious doctrine really only gets its power. Its source of power is from nature, but it's completely 180-degree flipped. Christianity raping its way through Europe, burning all the witches and so on and so forth in the name of something else. You're stripping the power sources, not just witches, but like anyone. It's the same with any dictator, arresting anyone who wears glasses or reads a book. It's the same principle. You end up stripping the land of the nutrients for intensive farming of the people, and you end up with an unfertile environment, which is by definition toxic and poisonous. So no wonder you get the results. What grows in poisonous land? Well, you got poisonous species. You got poisonous things that sprout in that. It's not that things can't grow in toxic land. It's that the things that do grow are not advantageous to life and more advantageous to death. I actually think a lot of that is, obviously there are many tangents we can go on off that, but it's certainly, from observation, easily can be applied to religious/spiritual history, and obviously modern day history, as well as the farming reference. I saw a program the other night. It was from yesteryear. One of the fathers of permaculture, the Australian dude, I forget his name, going into the deserts in Iran or somewhere in the Middle East. Or maybe it was North Africa. I can't quite remember. Taking what is basically desert land with no water, and in the space of 3 years, turning it into a permaculture forest. And in other places too, where you've got farmers who raise their cattle on nothing but little grain, sprigs of grass, force them to not graze their cattle for 3 years, and boom, I've got a whole forest. And now they can go back in and, under careful management, keep a rotating food source for them, and all because they allowed the land to breathe again. And if you can accept that in a farming sense, in a food source analogy, then, and extrapolate into cultivating humanity as opposed to cultivating a crop, but to think of humans as a crop, cultivating the healthiest humans, then you need to allow space for them to breathe and to grow without being controlled and subjected to you must behave these ways, and of course poisoned by various mindsets and also sort of physical substances.
Cultural narratives.
Yeah, it's a fine line. I mean, clearly, it's a fine line between fitting in with society and then being allowed to operate within it with a I want to say 100% freedom. People's immediate argument might be, well, people will do harm, and I think that mindset is indicative of someone who has grown from a poisonous root environment, where and I actually, to a lot of degree, we sort of started this conversation with me in quite a negative, but quite a down place, because I believe that I grew up in an environment that is highly regulated and policed and monitored. England is a very watched country, very over-governed, and I don't, there are plenty of people who leave it. Plenty of people obviously don't have a choice, get to stay. Plenty of people leave it. So I sort of include myself in the product of a toxic environment. I've been fortunate to be able to come to another place that's much more expansive and meet people who are able to think differently and behave differently and actually cement that as part of their lifestyle. Dr. Rabbi Solomon here is one such example, of course.
Thank you, good friend OJ Grapes. And thank you, viewers, for joining us on Source Talks, the tangential journey through time, space, and vibration resonance.
Yeah, really good for getting the earwax out.
Yeah. So we shall conclude today's episode as we want to honor our time frame.
Oh, yeah.
And we shall return again with episode Starseed 67J.
67J. That's a cross between G and J.
Yeah, the Jesus juice.
No comment.
Exactly. Until we meet again.
Let us.
Yahweh.